on this card. Um, I think it's a strong card, and I think it's going to see standard play.
Really?
Um, yeah, I do. I mean, it's a one mana 5/5 essentially. Um,
You think it's that easy to get 10 cards in their bin?
yeah, I think. I mean, I could see it in like maybe like modern or legacy or something. I mean, you have Ranger of Eos. I don't know if it will actually happen, but I mean,
I can see it being playable if the metagame was like a bunch of decks that like Delver that are just like filling their graveyard right away. But like
yeah,
if you're just relying on thought scouring them, I don't think you're gonna get there fast enough.
yeah. I don't know. It's maybe like if you're like maybe if Mill could get good enough, then you could like be like a Mill deck with like a sideboard plan of like this guy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's on like the watch list. I think he could like
Right. It's a card to keep your eye on because like it's such a powerful effect.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I completely get that.
yeah.
Kraken Hatchling. This card was actually pretty good in
In
limited
Zendikar,
when it
right?
was first printed because it was Zendikar. Yeah, and like the format was just the most tempo oriented, like race oriented format in the history of Magic.
Yeah.
Uh, I actually think that this core set, more than almost any set since Zendikar, is that racy.
Okay. I not 100% agree with that, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of this card. I think you had a racy deck at the pre-release,
Yeah, I
but
might be biased because of that.
yeah, I think in general, I mean, I played Friday Night Magic at Allentown because the tournament was on Saturday and I stayed at my friend's house, and my games weren't really racy.
Okay.
They, so
Sealed or draft?
it was draft we did.
Okay. I was gonna say like I think that sealed might not be, but draft may be more race oriented. But if you drafted and you don't think that, like I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely still a fine card if you're really like a skies deck or something, and it's definitely a good sideboard card.
Yeah, yes, it's a good cyber card for sure.
I think that it goes down with exalted being a thing because even if like because like when they don't have exalted, they can just like play their grizzly bears and attack, and then this thing can like soak up a lot of damage. But if they're attacking with exalted, then this doesn't actually like profitably block at all.
Yeah.
So it's just like a chump blocker for mana, which obviously isn't good.
Okay.
Master Trident.
Yeah, I mean, this card is going to see play just in any constructed format,
Yeah.
and for limited, it's like
Apparently there are merfolk in Return to Ravnica.
so. I mean, I mean, that make the card a lot better. But for limited, it's like if you have a bunch of Merfolk, play it in your deck. Otherwise, if you're heavy blue, it's a Grizzly Bear, which is fine.
There's also Scroll in this set,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah,
merfolk that you definitely want to get through.
yeah. I remember at the Nationals that I made top eight at. One of my draft decks had three Scroll Thieves and five Ether Adepts.
Jesus. Nice deck.
Yeah,
The real thing about this card, though, is going to be Legacy. Uh,
yeah,
there were a couple slots in Merfolk that were kind of iffy, and now you just play more of these guys.
yeah.
Um,
You get a bunch of lords. Your guys are 5/5s.
yeah, it's one of the cards that is going to be like really good in that deck, which isn't a good deck. So it's going to be like it's like a good budget deck or whatever, but I actually don't think it's competitive at all. But with this card being printed, more and more people are going to try it. Yeah. Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, 1 for 1. Not good.
Yeah, I mean, not good, but again, it's good for the casual player, and
If you have
I
the
don't know.
Master of the Pearl Trident, then you need the Underling.
Yeah, and I do like how the core sets are definitely geared towards the casual player,
Yeah,
because it just helps gets a lot more Magic players in the game and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mind Sculpt, Mill 7. Again, we're going to have to see like what mill cards come.
Yeah, I mean, I think a card like that is going to see play in limited, because something like
If you get 3 of them, then you can just kill them.
yeah, because people drafted like the Tome Scour deck, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This thing's way
So
better than Tome Scour.
yeah, it's just much better. So I think it's definitely good to see limited play,
Yeah, it's definitely
and
possible.
it could see constructive play because Glimpse of Nature originally was there to deck people, but then people started glimpsing themselves.
Right. You mean
Yeah.
Glimpse the Unthinkable?
Oh yeah, Glimpse of Nature.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Unthinkable, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and like there have been competitive mill decks before, so
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
do not think it's impossible. Negate, awesome sideboard card. Um, both in limited and constructed.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you could even main deck in the limited.
Yeah, that is very
Um,
true.
People are always gonna have their removal spell and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
So
it answers a lot of the bombs.
yeah.
Yep, sweet. Omniscience. This card is awesome. There's like giant Timmy Johnny cards, like, or EDH cards.
Yeah, I mean it's
Like for anyone who's not super spike mode, this card is like the ultimate mythic.
yeah. I mean it's terrible in limited.
Yeah, yeah.
But for legacy, maybe for modern,
Yeah,
for
well, I'm talking casual formats. For competitive formats, Legacy, it does have applications. You show and tell this into play, then you cast your Emrakul instead of showing and
yeah,
telling it. That's definitely, uh, like a possible deck, you know. And
yeah,
there's what's it called? Hypergenesis.
yeah.
Like there are things to do with it in Legacy. Unless there's a way to sneak it into play in other formats, I don't think it's going to see play.
Okay.
So unless they reprint Show and Tell, which I don't see happening, I
Yeah.
doubt it'll come in.
I could see like a sicko being a deck with like maybe like pristine talismans and gilded lotuses and like the new Wheel of Fortune card or something.
And just going off.
Yeah, so you just like get this down into play and like Wheel of Fortune draw 7 more and then just like boom.
Yeah, that's actually awesome.
Yeah,
I hope that
so I mean,
happens.
maybe I'll work on a deck like that just for fun, and it might be good. You never know.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Redirect.
Redirect. I like redirect.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a sideboard card
Yep.
versus like the guys who are going to play like mine rots or stuff
Yep.
like that in limited.
It's one of my favorite limited sideboard blowouts.
Yep, definitely.
So
For
fun.
constructed, the only one that really saw a lot of play was Divert
Right.
because it was like just so cheap. It was like 1 blue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
there
don't
were
think
there were
redirect
like
will see a lot of
there were like a lot of
play.
targeted effects in that format too.
Yeah, there were, and now it's like,
There's not
I mean-
that many.
yeah, what do you got to redirect like a Vapor Snag?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that bad, but
But like you could just miss that no mana.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Rewind.
Rewind's definitely good. I know a lot of people got excited when they were like, "Oh, Rewind! I'm gonna play it in like my Esper control deck and stuff."
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like,
It's not as good as it used to be.
yeah, definitely not. Like I think something like Dismiss might have been better, just because you
Yeah.
draw a card.
Yeah. Like you, there's not much
if-
to do with the mana besides like Angel,
Yeah.
or like I guess you can look at me, but
yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Rewind.
me neither. But you never know.
Yeah.
It's definitely had its applications in Magic's history, so it's not unthinkable that it's gonna be good. It's just like right now with Cavern and then all the decks being playing such cheap cards and there not being a lot of instants to take advantage of the extra mana, it's like somewhat unlikely that this is gonna be played a lot, like heavily right out the gates, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Scroll Thief, awesome card in limited. I love this card
Yeah.
in limited so much.
Yeah, same. I think it's super good and limited.
If it hits once, like it just snowballs out of control so fast.
Yeah, yeah. But I do like the fact that you're not playing Absent Restored, and it's not like that one tandem guy, the 2/1 Soulbound guy,
Right.
because like that guy is even better than Scroll Thief.
Yeah, that is true.
But yeah, Scroll Thief's definitely a well balanced, powerful card that's cheap. It's almost never going to see constructed play, but definitely really
Yeah,
cool.
the
for
days of
limited.
Ophidian have passed,
Yeah.
sadly. But it is awesome and limited, and like I said earlier, it is a Merfolk, which is relevant with that
Yeah.
Merfolk Lord. Sleep, one of the more powerful stalemate enders, or
Yeah,
race.
I give a thumbs up. I think it's a good card. I don't think it's as insane as people, once thought it was when it first came out.
Well, when it
Um,
first came out, like it was really we were in a different world. There were like Overrun and Fireball at common or at uncommon, I mean, and
yeah,
like the creatures were all way huger, and there were things like Royal Assassin. So I think that it was properly hyped when it was first printed, but I think it's not as good as it was then.
yeah,
But it's still quite good.
yeah, it's fine.
Spell Twine. I'm actually happy to read this one.
Yeah, I think this card is like that one card that you would play a card from your opponent's graveyard. I don't know what it's called, but it was like
Spell
people played it in the control mirror
Spell
match. It was like
Thief Hex or whatever.
it was oh no, it was like blue black, blue black, blue black, blue black. It was a split card.
Oh yeah. I know what
Yeah,
card you're talking about.
yeah, because in that format people play like Cruel Ultimatum.
Yeah, and Cryptic.
Yeah, yes. So this card is cool because you do your graveyard and your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah, this card is sweet.
Yeah, I think this card is good enough to see play in like standard. Um, but the problem is right now there's decks like Naya where
Right.
you don't have anything to copy. You know
Well,
what I'm
this
saying?
is just an awesome control mirror sideboard option for now.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
we might be able to get to a point where it's one of the better trumps possible.
Yeah, Memory Plunder or something like that, right
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting card. Fact or Fiction Sphinx.
Yeah, I
Limited
mean that card's a
bomb.
reprint. Like you guys know, it's definitely a first pick card. Um, you could draft it and you could draft your deck, kind of around it
Yep.
to play for the late game. I mean, 7 mana is not that ridiculous,
Nope.
and once you play it, it's such a powerful effect. You have a 5/6 flyer that they might just lose to,
Yes.
and you're probably drawing, anywhere from like 1 to 4 cards.
Yeah, one really, really good card or like any mixture between.
Yes,
And
full lands and like a decent spell.
yeah, it's definitely a limited bomb. Probably not going to be able to push to constructed though.
Yep. Yeah.
Stormtide Leviathan, Momer Basic Bomb,
I
possible
mean,
reanimation
you would play it
target.
in limited in some cases.
Yeah, if your deck's really controlling,
Yeah,
you could
but
definitely play
and
it.
if you're like some aggressive like blue white flying deck, you don't want an 8 mana card in your opening hand and stuff.
Right. I think that this thing is it's build aroundable in limited, but I think that it's real. If it finds a home, it's going to be as a reanimator target,
Yeah,
which we'll have
I
to see if that works out.
yeah, I think the Sphinx will see play in like that -2 or like all your creatures cost 2 less.
Oh, Heartless Summoning.
Yeah, Harley summoning. Yeah,
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 both these cards are good in that deck.
yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. I always forget that's a Magic card.
yeah.
Switcheroo. I
Yeah.
am so glad that Mind Control is gone.
Yeah. Switcheroo's a lot worse than Mind Control, which is good. Uh,
Yes, but it's not just strictly worse, right? Like the Overrun, they changed a bunch and made it rare. This one
yeah,
they changed the and made it uncommon, or it kept it uncommon.
yeah, kept it. Yeah,
Like okay, so Mind Control. It used to be that you mind control something and they bounce it, then like you lost your mind control. But
yeah,
now if you mind control and they bounce something, you're like way far behind.
yeah.
But at the same time, you can mind control, you can switcheroo and then bounce your own thing, and then you're way ahead.
Yeah, it's just different. It's definitely a good card for limited.
Yes,
Um,
it's really
but
interesting and limited.
what's up?
It's really, really interesting and limited to see how it
Yeah,
plays
yeah,
out.
yeah. It's like it kind of reminds me of Stolen Goods when you're playing against another blue deck because of like Peel from Reality and Into the Void.
Yeah,
So you don't want to Stolen Goods too early because then they're like, oh, maybe they have the Into the Void or something, or the
right.
Miss Raven. There's a lot of bounce spells in blue.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's kind of tricky here as well.
yeah.
So
Very good point. Tolerant
yeah,
Sky Summoner.
I
I
think this. Yeah, I think this card's not that good. I think
really.
Yeah, I think people are overvaluing it. I mean, if you do think it's good, they're in the event decks. They have like a foil one, so for like $15 at like Walmart, you get that and like 2 packs. So you get like the foil one of this and 2 packs.
Huh.
So if you think it's gonna go up and stuff,
Yeah,
you know,
that
buy
is
them.
that is important. This card is probably not a good one to speculate on financially, but
Yeah,
you don't think that this is like one of the more constructible cards in the set.
I don't think it's that good.
Really? Because
Yeah.
like I mean, I was pretty excited by the idea of this thing in a deck full of or like in a Delver deck. It's like 4 mana is a lot, but I would much rather have this thing than a Restoration Angel that's not getting value.
Yeah, I mean, but like again, like something like a Garruk Relentless, um, could be like more powerful and have like a more solid effect.
Yeah, but you can play this in mono blue.
Yeah, I
Like
understand that,
you
but
can
I mean,
cavern it out in mono blue and just have like shots, mutagenic growths, vapor snags, ponders, thought scours, Catasian probes, and noxious revivals or whatever you want, and it's gonna have like enough value to pay for himself
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
almost
We'll see what
100% of the
happens
time.
with him. You know?
Yeah, I like this card a lot. Or
Yep.
doesn't, he's a hater. All
Yep.
right, Telryn's Invocation, um, limited bomb, uh, constructed probably not.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Definitely a bomb. Um, and I don't know. I mean, I mean, Limited is like insane. It's like a Lingering Souls, you
Yeah,
know?
it's so good in limited.
Yeah. Constructed, they didn't get Spirits on purpose because of the Draw Slow Captain.
Yeah,
Because they don't want people going Captain, then, 2/3/3s hexproofs the next turn.
right.
Uh, Constructed, I don't know. Maybe. You don't know.
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely on the cusp of playability. It's just 4 mana. Like 4 mana is so much these days.
yeah.
So many good 4 drops. It's
Yeah.
hard to compete. Tricks of the Trade. This is like the type of card that salvages an otherwise horrible train wreck of a draft.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You have like this like awful like green deck.
Yeah, where
You're like
like
you have like 3 red cards.
yeah, you're like solid 3 colors because like you
Yeah.
got pass cut from both directions and opens horribly and like mispicked bunch and like tried to keep your options open for too long and your deck is just garbage. Then this thing will be your savior.
Yep.
Just put it on something and hope they don't have removal. This one and the black one, the +2/+2 lifelink one.
Yeah, lifelink over and yeah, or it's
Yeah, those are both completely reasonable cards to steal games.
yeah, exactly.
Unsummon here.
Yeah.
I'm glad about any instant pretty much because it adds so much play to the games.
And you want to play unsummon and limited.
Yes.
Multiple unsummons fine as well, especially if you have like a really good creature you want to protect.
Right.
Wait a turn and
It's there's so much utility, right? Like it protects a guy. It can give you a ton of tempo, especially with Exalted. They only attack with one guy and you bounce it. It's like an insane time walk.
yeah.
It stops all these auras that we're talking about and looking at, and it can rebuy enters play abilities. And finally, with Switcheroo, it is unbelievable. Both
Yeah, and it
against
also makes your
Switcheroo and
1/2
with
guy
it.
like an infinite chump blocker.
Makes your what?
The 1/2 guy.
Oh yeah, the archaeologist. Yep. And
Yep.
and even if you're not using it that way, like having unsummon in your deck, having either one in your deck makes the other one so much better.
Definitely.
Because like you can just burn your unsummon early for a bunch of tempo and then still buy it back in case they play, a dragon you need to bounce or something.
Yeah.
And also there's Essence Scatter. So if somebody plays an Essence Scatter while you tapped out, then for just 1 mana, pop it back and Essence Scatter it. Vidalcan and Trancer. I actually didn't realize this card was in the set until like the top 8 of
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I remember you saying
pre-release.
that.
And you guys just like, all right, turn 4 and Trancer. When I was like trying to slow the game down, I was like, oh man, now I gotta like find out a way to kill this guy because this thing actually provides a reasonable clock while also playing defense.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think it's good. I think drafting a control deck with like 2 or 3 of these is definitely a possibility. So I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, it is. It is a cool card for sure. Are you dying over there, or what's
All right. A couple of sneezes.
You're allergic to the internet?
Yeah. So
All right, 4 more cards. Void
All right.
Stalker, weird convoluted blue removal. It's like I like this card a lot, right? Because it's a Goblin Piker, right? So you're already getting a fine rate, and then its ability is so important when again, against Exalted or a bomb or an aura, it's like exactly what you need.
Yes, there was another card like this too. It's not a reprint, but it had a very similar effect. I forgot what the name
Yeah,
was.
no, I have that feeling as well, but I can't remember what card it is.
Yeah.
There is definitely something like that.
I mean, I think this card's a good card, like you said, uh, and it definitely will be interesting in gameplay. I think it's a card that each game with the card in play will be kind of different.
Yeah, for sure. It adds a lot of variety to the games where he hits board.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah, the Gomazoa. This guy got it right. The O3.
oh right, it's
Yeah.
whatever it blocks, you do
Yep.
this to it.
Exactly.
Yep. But this thing's way better because you can hit stuff that you couldn't otherwise block.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You have to spend
Or
mana, but who cares?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Water Courser. This is just an awesome rate for a blue creature. Like
Yeah.
a 2/3 for 3 that can then also trade up or hit really hard. It's just a really solid creature.
I feel like this is a card that people will think has flying, and you could probably like attack, hit you.
Yeah,
I
dude.
did that with Sullivan one time. I had a Gluscloak. It was like a 4 mana 3/3, and the guy had a cape on in the picture.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
what card you're talking about.
yeah, I dealt him like 21 points of damage. I was like, and then after the game, I honestly didn't even know that it didn't have flying either. So kind of funny.
Well, it's a Gust Cloak guy, right? So you can just keep attacking, and if eventually he figures it out and blocks, then you just Gust Cloak it, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it never happened.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
actually picked up the card.
it's a total free roll.
Yeah, Pat Sullivan picked up the card. He read it, and he said, "Wow, this card's insane." And
And
then
then
he just
took
kept taking
21
it.
from it.
Like he was convinced it had flying too.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this card's all. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the Sky Summoner, Talrin's Sky Summoner. I had no idea until just now that it was a Merfolk that doesn't fly.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was like a flying thing that made other flying things.
Yeah. Read your card. Everybody at home, read your
Yeah,
cards.
please read your cards.
It's like
Please.
when your high school teacher was like, "Read the question,"
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
"Yeah,
We need
all right."
we need like one of those like public service announcements where like a guy comes out like he's got his blazer on and he like turns to the screen, he's like, "Kids, read your cards." And then it's like the more you know or something like that.
Yeah. Or, the commercial I used to love? It was like, "This is your brain on drugs."
This is your game state when you don't read cards.
Yeah.
It's just smashing eggs with frying pans.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Dude,
but Water Cursor's awesome creature at common. It's a really good rate. It's a sweet
yeah.
card.
Good.
Welkin
All right,
Turn,
what are the last two cards? Let's take a look.
Welkin Turn, and Windrake.
All right. So.
Welkin Turn
Prince.
is like one of the 4 or 5 cards that made Zendikar as racy as it was.
Yep.
Just like 2-drop, unblockable, and like can't play defense and plays offense really well.
Yeah.
So, yet another contender for the AJ camp that this format's going to be pretty racy.
Yeah, maybe we'll see how it plays out. Both these cards you're definitely gonna have in your deck.
Yes.
You want to have like a blue-white flying deck or something.
Yeah, good if
Definitely.
you're like massing flyers. Like, can you imagine curving into Drake into the Invocation?
Yeah.
That's just like
Definitely.
an unbelievable curve. And if you start that with a Kraken hatchling or like play 2 blockers after that or something, like it's going to be near impossible to race you.
And then your opponent plays that 2/7 spider guy. And you're just
So Glass Spider.
yeah, like, man, this format sucks. I'm gonna go play some Avison Restored after that.
Well, like it is interesting that it's a 2/1 and a 2/2, and that the tokens are 2/2 Drake tokens because White does have a 2/3 flyer for 4.
Yes, it does. Whenever a creature comes into play, +1/+1.
Yeah, so that thing is going to be a pretty significant like race changer in because it's amazing in this guy's deck and unbelievable against it. So it's going to be a real card to look out for those types of matchups. And I just want to throw in also anything with flying is better than you think it is. A, because Invasion is that much better in core sets, and B, because Exalted is amazing team in this format.
Yes.
And with that, blue cards, and
Yeah.
you have to leave.
Yeah, I agree. So I hate to run so quickly, but
No,
I gotta
that's
go.
fine.
It's been good. Hopefully, you guys learned some things about the blue cards in the format. Um, check out my article that's gonna go on Star City about the new deck that I did well with yesterday.
Yep.
So yeah.
Are you still doing 3